Hello everyone. So this video we're going to do now is really important, particularly if you live in a country where you aren't reliant on MLS property systems. So for instance, in the UK, traditionally, if you want to go and see 10 properties on your street, they may well be listed by 10 different agents and you have to physically go to the branch or you have to phone up and make arrangements to view each of the 10 properties individually. That's a big effort. In Spain, we do things differently. We have what's known as a multi-listing system, which means that once you've chosen an agent who you trust and like, it means that they should be able to give you whole of market choice. They should be able to show you everything that's available. So you may be embarking on your search at the moment, on your property search, and looking at various websites and property portals like Rightmove and Idealista, things like that. They aren't the most reliable places to look. They certainly give you the volume of properties, but chances are probably 30–40% of those properties either don't exist because they're just put up there by agents as clickbait, or they're out of date, or they're duplicates, or they're the wrong price, or goodness knows what. So the only true kind of system to use is the one that the agents use. Unfortunately, you as Mr. and Mrs. Public, you're not allowed to use it, but us agents are. And it's where all the property information is stored by all the different agents along the coast. And we can go into it anytime we want and check out exactly what's available, what isn't available, and then we can send properties to you based on that. So I'm going to show you how that works because I think it's important that you can see the power behind this. So let me just go into one of the 3 or 4 systems we have at our disposal. This one's called Resales Online. The other ones we commonly use are Imoba, Milenio Plus, and also Infocasa. We have access to all of those. And what it means for agents is that they can upload details of a property on this system and it's seen by all the agents on the coast. Anyone with access to this system is going to be able to see that and send that to their clients. Because the problem we have on the Costa del Sol is we're dealing in a second home market. It's not like a traditional real estate market. So we are reliant on other agents to help us. You know, we might have the perfect property, but the perfect buyer for that property might be sitting in an agent's office in, I don't know, Sotogrande or Mijas or Munich, who knows? So the more that we can get out get the property out there in front of as many agents as possible, the more chance we have of making a sale, which is what it's all about. So let me show you this. Let me show you how I would do a search for somebody. So we go into the property tab here. Search, and there's different ways of searching. I'm just going to show you a very straightforward way we do it. And say we have a client who wants to buy, I don't know, a penthouse between 400,000 and 600,000 penthouse, and they want it to be 3 beds or more, and we want it to be in, let's say, the New Golden Mile, and they also want to be maybe Estepona. Oops, would help if I could spell, wouldn't it? Estepona, maybe Selwo, and maybe Los Flamingos as well. Okay, we'll leave these criteria here because it's a little bit more in depth. Let's see what this brings up, how many properties are up there. I'm searching on the whole network and I'm searching on new developments as well. And so I click search. And hopefully it doesn't come back with 0. Oh no, it comes back with 40. So there's 40 properties that match those criteria that I've plugged in there. So that's a nice amount. And what I can do from here, I can go into any of these properties and I can see what it is, where it is. I'm on the client version at the moment. The version that I would look at would have a little bit more information about which agent listed it, what the terms are. But here you can see community fees, you can see the description, and of course you can see the various photographs of that property. And then you can decide whether you want to include that in your shortlist that you send to a client. So I might end up, I don't know, having 3 or 4 of these that I thought, yeah, these are great for my client, exactly what they want. And then I can send that little shortlist as a selection to my clients, and it's all done within seconds. So this is a really powerful system. Also, what we can see here is we can see how up to date the property is. So normally if something hasn't been updated by an agent for more than a couple of months, it might well be out of date. So once we're experienced working with this system, which we all are at Cloud9, we can soon see which listings look a little bit dodgy and which ones are new and which ones are live and current. So it just makes our job a lot easier, but it makes your job a lot easier because you don't have to go around 20 different agents to look at 20 different properties. My advice has always been, if you find an agent that you like and that you trust and that you feel you can work comfortably with, then invest the time in them and tell them, look, I want to work with you. I'm giving you the job to find me my dream home. Off you go. And that agent, once he hears that or she hears that, that's music to their ears because they can then invest the time going into these shared databases, really searching deep for what you want and maybe finding things that you haven't thought about before, areas that you might not have been amenable to, different styles of properties. And there can then be an exchange of information, which is the really important thing in narrowing down the search. So that when you come over to Spain, you've got a really good shortlist that you've worked on with your agent and you can move forward with that. But the great thing is that your agent can remain objective throughout that process because he or she is giving you whole of market choice, access to every property out there on the market, and he or she should be able to advise you as a friend, really, as well as an agent, about what you've seen, the good things, the bad things. There's no perfect property out there. But you can sit at the end of a day touring maybe 5 or 6 properties, sit there with a beer or a water or a coffee or whatever and talk through the options. And that's what a good agent-client relationship should look like. It shouldn't really be going to 20 different agents and all those agents telling you different things about all the different properties. It becomes an absolute mess. But with this system, as I say, this is one of 4 systems that we have access to. You can normally find what you're looking for. Anyway, hope that was useful, but please bear it in mind when you start your property search that there's a simple way of doing this. You can make it as simple or as difficult as you wish, but this is the simple way of doing it.